Oh God, you're on the loop again, aren't you? One sec, let me just. Yeah, there we are.
Jeff Bridges, man.
Johnny.
Did you miss me? Yes, Papa.
Watching R.I.P.D.
No, Papa.
Telling lies.
Yes, Papa. Before we begin, Jeff Bridges announced this week he's unwell, and it is the last straw. Universe, sort your shit out, please. All right, don't you dare take Jeff Bridges from us. The man has to make R.I.P.D. too. No one has to make that. No, but get well soon, Jeff Bridges, and condolences, one and all, as you're listening to the big damn cast.
Yes, we're so
Geeky
sorry.
gossip, nerdy news, things to fill your time with before the inevitable win of the Republican Party in the States again, because we can't have nice things.
You can't.
My name is Christopher Johnson.
My name is Erasmus Farty Pants, and you can't prove it in court that it's not.
That's very true, because we can't go to court together. We're on episode 20,000 of the at-home Skype sessions, which is really weird because I've
actually lost count. It's been a long time.
Yeah. I mean, normally, the last few years, we've done Skype only over December and January because I've been away doing pantomime.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, if people get their shit together, we might actually get to record in the same space when I would normally be doing pantomime.
Yeah.
So that'll be some weird reversal.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
No, good lord. But if you are going to hold it, folks, hold it under a fucking mask.
Unless for 7 minutes.
Right, before we even begin. So, just before we started, Keeks came over to you and went, oh, by the way, just show Chris this. And it's something I'd seen before. Could you please describe what was put in front of your eye holes and why?
Put in front of my eye holes was a picture of what I assume was Sigourney Weaver in a motion capture suit with a big motion capture cloak, stood on the bottom of a swimming pool, and I just went, oh, that's how they filmed Avatar 2, is it? Okay.
Yeah. They've been doing a lot of filming underwater for James Cameron's Avatar Part 2, due out for 10 years ago, 5 years ago, this year, next year, every decade
remember
going forward.
When people were anticipating Avatar 2?
Yeah, it was the 2 months after Avatar came out. That was kind of it.
Really. I don't think it even was that. I don't think anyone came out of Avatar going, I really want to see another one of those. I surely didn't.
Give it its credit. It was a worldwide phenomenon for the month of its release at the end of 2009, because it was the first sort of big spectacle 3D movie in the return boom of 3D technology to cinemas.
If only they'd got the Disney park section out in time, it would have been so much better.
Well, that was what was weird when they announced that Animal Kingdom was getting Pandora, which full disclosure, I've been to. It's some of the most visually impressive scenery and immersion I've ever seen in a theme park or attraction. It's nuts. The main ride is phenomenal. Flight of the Banshee, whatever it's called, but Flight of Passage. The riverboat ride is pointless, but has a gorgeous animatronic, and the food there's really cool. It's just weird because it's oh yeah, this was from a movie. You sort of sit there going oh, right, yeah. You could just buy it as its own thing. It's yeah, cool. Oh, right, there was a film. Oh, there's meant to be more films. Huh?
I for one, can't wait to explore the rich Avatar cinematic universe.
Well,
And
that's what he said. That's what Cameron said a while ago, that the further sequels will explore different worlds, but the second one will mostly be on Pandora again.
It's just such a fertile bedding for stories that are all Dances with Wolves with blue people. Like,
Yeah.
I can't.
Do you guys want to see Do you guys want to see Pocahontas, but insulting in a different way?
I can't wait to watch
Avatar.
The Last Blue Samurai again.
It's bizarre. But at least now we have learned that they're filming loads of stuff underwater, and Kate Winslet claims she can now hold her breath for 7 minutes.
Is it Kate Winslet? I thought it was Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, Kate Winslet in the article.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if Sigourney's in the pic, but Kate Winslet's the one who said, like, we've been filming underwater stuff and I can hold my breath now.
Oh, yeah.
After all the training they've put us through for 7 minhui. And it's cool. Will the film be any good?
Why on earth would you hold your breath for 7 minutes?
To spend 7 minutes in an attempt to get yourself into a semi-asphyxiated hallucinatory state so that when you come back up to the surface, James Cameron's like, right, what we're going to do now? And you're like, I can't even hear him properly. I'm on cloud 9. I'm hallucinating, bitch. I'm great.
I don't understand James Cameron. I just don't understand his weird sort of control freak.
The last film he made was Avatar. Yeah. It's been over 10 years since Avatar. It's been nearly over 10 years since Avatar. It's been nearly 11 years, rather, since Avatar came out. And all he's been making in that time is technological advances to film and then beginning the filming of Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5.
That's too many Avatars.
Does the world need it? No.
I mean,
will it be interesting? It'll probably be technologically interesting, but I doubt you'll be able to see the technologically interesting stuff on screen. Like The Mandalorian, which we'll get to next week because it comes out after we've recorded this. Part of the charm of The Mandalorian is that melding of technology with practical and solid effects, and why everyone sort of fell in love with the look of that show was the background and digital effects used to create the environments being so utterly convincing that it was like, wait, that's not really there. That's amazing. Added on to, oh my god, those costumes and puppets and props and things look incredible. And it's a nice mix of fascinations of the technology.
Yeah.
Whereas Avatar is just all going to look like it's been generated in a computer. So what's the point? What's the point in teaching actors to hold their breath underwater, to film them as big butterfly creatures to be filmed in actual water in mocap suits? If ultimately you could fake them being underwater with the technology used to enhance the capture performance in a computer.
Chris, I don't think you understand. We shot this underwater.
Oh, right. All the Oscars. Yeah. Give it... Oh, wait, hang on. Is it about the fact that white men and black men can actually get on, maybe? Or is it set in old-time Hollywood?
No, we shot this underwater.
Oh, then no Oscars. No Oscars. No Oscars. No Oscars. No. You have to talk down to us and show us that Viggo Mortensen can be slightly less racist to get an Oscar.
But we shot it underwater.
Yeah, but it's not about old-timey Hollywood.
Also not the first film
or the military.
James Cameron has shot underwater. Oh, shot big chunks of underwater. Remember The Abyss?
Yeah, that was a thing. Do you remember that documentary he made about looking out for the Titanic and discovering more about it, about 15 years ago?
I haven't seen it. Is it on Disney Plus? I have a feeling it's on Disney Plus.
It might be on Disney Plus. Welcome to Disney Plus, where you can watch James Cameron get paid to sit in Thunderbird 4 and shine a torch on some bubbles.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realise we were doing a fucking LOLO revival.
Listen very carefully. I just says it's only once.
No!
What news is
that wasn't an invitation,
world, gentle sir? It's Halloween weekend. Surely we've got some spooky news out from the world of media, popular culture, and all that shite.
Well, Spider-Man 3 started filming.
Ooh,
we got our first
Spooky Man 3
because the Uncharted film was wrapped, and we got our first
Uncharted.
We got our first look at Tom Holland in costume as Nathan Drake on set.
Ooh, Nathan Drake, grave.
Dread. But the most horrifying thing was the picture that's going around of Mark Wahlberg with a terrible moustache.
Oh god, is it an official one or is it just an on-sets photo that's surfaced?
It looks
For those
like
who don't know,
it's
Uncharted is being made by Sony Pictures, and it's basically like the second attempt after the Ratchet and Clank animated movie to be like, we now make films based on our video game properties. And it's a live action, and it's Uncharted, and it's set in the time between the flashbacks of number 3 and presumably Golden Abyss, the Vita game. Like it's set sort of about 8-9 years, maybe more, before the first Uncharted game. Tom Holland is playing a younger Drake, and because he was attached to it over 10 years ago to play Drake, but the film stalled, stopped, started, wasn't happening, was happening, was rewritten, this, that, and the other. Mark Wahlberg was contractually tied up in it. So when it came to the development of this one, they've obviously gone, well, we either buy out Marky Mark or we cast him in it. But he can't be Drake. So they cast him as Sully, which is like the worst casting ever.
Yeah. Do you want to see? Do you want to see how bad?
So just before you flip that image and spoil my dreams and curdle me like milk, the image of Tom Holland that came out as Drake came out around the same day that he posted some set photos with him meeting Nolan North, the voice and performance capture Drake from the games. Yeah. And like, I think it was Naughty Dog first posted the preview picture of them talking to each other, like proper, like really smiling while they're chatting away with each other. And the picture said, like, find somebody who looks at you the way Nathan Drake looks at Nathan Drake. Yeah. And it's like, that's really cute. And Nolan North and Tom Holland were tweeting each other, talking about how like, it was a lovely day and it was great to like meet each other, and like they both love what each other has done with this character and can't wait to see what the film's going to turn out like. And it's like, okay, that's encouraging. That's a little encouraging that Nate Drake himself is like, no, I like this. Like, I like what they're doing. I've had a look at it, and I think it's going to be... I think people who love the games and love the stories we told are going to enjoy it. And then they released a professional teaser image of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. And he looks like Nathan Drake. It looks like a younger Drake. The costume's erring a bit more on the sides of like the Drake's Fortune PS3
It looks like
vibe.
really good cosplay.
And that's not a knock. Like it's just it's like if you're gonna do cosplay that impresses the heck out of you, may as well do it in the movie where people kind of want you to look like the character.
Do you want to see?
It's pretty damn solid, and it's like tasty. But then I remembered, Wahlberg's Sully. So Matt's about to reveal to me the image of Wahlberg as Sully.
It's not the highest res, and it looks like it was like taken in his trailer or something.
Oh wait! Did he not like the fact that Holland was getting all the compliments, so he put out an image or something? Guys, words can't describe the sort of slight disgust on Matt's face right now. I'll give it a try. It sort of looks like he's just been brought his breakfast at an airport restaurant before getting on his plane. And it's arrived, and he's like, oh, yeah, I've got the black pudding. Oh, right, the mushrooms are there. Great, bit of sausage. How thick is the skin on those beans? That's the look Matt's got on his face right now. Oh, fuck, and now he's showing me the image. And Mark Wahlberg is even looking down into the camera like somebody who's trying to judge how thick the skin is on his beans. Why is the tash longer on one side?
I couldn't
it's
tell
like
you.
sloping down one side of his face. He looks awful. Oh, Christ. This is basically Marky Mark with a mustache.
Look at that mustache! Look at that mustache!
Just, no. No. Don't want. That looks like it's an Instagram video or something.
Yeah,
which implies to me that he was like, oh, you guys like the image of Tom, huh? Oh, well, okay, what about me? Here's my turn, huh? If I do this, the studio can't tell me off, huh?
Cannot imagine... Wahlberg trying to do some kind of Victor Sullivan voice. I just can't imagine it in my head.
Hey Nate, it's me, Victor goddamn Sullivan, huh? Yeah.
Like, just think, what's the actor's name who plays Sully? I'm gonna have to look
Victor
it up.
goddamn Sullivan.
Victor goddamn Sullivan.
It's Richard something, isn't it? Is it a Richard something, or am I dribbling out my ears?
We're gonna find out. Yeah, Richard McGonagall.
Richard McGonagall, he's great. He looks, ironically, like Jeff Bridges, man. Like he's bald and big old white beard. And he's great. Like he embodies that character so beautifully.
Yeah.
Like the reason why people love Sully is because, like, Nate's Han Solo. Nah. Sully's Han Solo.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it until you first encounter him and you go, oh yeah, Drake knows shit. Drake don't know shit.
Nate's Chewbacca.
He's still got the enthusiasm. Yeah, Nate is Chewbacca. Exactly. Sully's simultaneously sick of this shit, but still has that like lust for it all. He's a dab hand in a difficult situation, despite being way too old to be in these situations. He chews through cigars like the fucking Wrigleys. Like he's so charming. He's the ultimate like charming.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like Mark Wahlberg isn't charming.
No, he's racist.
I don't think he has an ounce of charm in him.
Yeah. So, but hey, it's me, Sullivan, Victor goddamn Sullivan, huh? Drinking a Bud Light.
But you know who is charming?
Oh,
who is charming?
Where's he going with this?
The sweet, chiseled chin and dreamy dark eyes of one Oscar Isaac.
Oh, okay. I
Not
thought
you,
it was me
Chris.
for a second.
Not you.
Okay. Why is Oscar Isaac on your radar, you horny bastard?
Take this with a pinch of salt. He's always on my radar.
A pot of salt, even.
Take this with a pinch of salt. But the reports are going around that he's in talks to star as Moon Nugget / Mark Spector in the forthcoming MCU Disney Plus series Moon Knife.
Okay, I'm getting mixed signals here. Is it sad that when you said Moon Nugget, the first thing I thought of was those toys from the 90s from McDonald's where they were little nuggets and you put them in like costumes, like they looked like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, but they were like
a nugget with a face.
They were like
but,
really shit Mr. Potato Heads because it was just like top and bottom. Yeah, I remember.
And I was always upset because even as a kid, I was like, the space taken up by this fake nugget could have been taken up by an extra nugget.
I had some of the Little Mermaid Happy Meal toys that I remembered fondly when Keeks was watching it the other week. I had like Prince Eric in a little plastic boat, a little plastic sailboat. And
did he try to kiss you?
No, sadly not.
While you weren't talking or able to express your opinion, did he try to kiss you?
And I had a little flounder that squirted water.
Yeah, but what about the McDonald's toys?
Hey!
I had an Batman the Animated Series rubber Joker head that shot water.
Yeah, I had a Batman the Animated Series Catwoman.
Oh, what did she do?
Nothing.
Did she spit water?
She was basically a statue, but she was like a 3 and a 3.25 inch like action figure size.
And 5-year-old Matt had his first sexual awakening.
No, that was with the aerial figure that came with everything else.
2-year-old Matt had his sexual. Filth buckets.
Anyway,
so Moon Knight.
Talking about
MCU...
sexual experiences, Oscar Isaac apparently he's in talks to take the title role in the Moon Knight MCU series, which they've talked about.
Is also good because like Moon Knight is a role that they could very easily just choose to whitewash.
Yeah.
But by casting Oscar Isaac, they are not doing that, which is good.
But here's the thing.
However, good Matthew, didn't this same story break several weeks ago about Tatiana Maslany?
Tatiana Maslany.
Playing She-Hulk. Tatiana Maslany was playing She-Hulk, which she then came out and went, yeah, I have a feeling that this is a rumor that's been blown out of proportion, guys.
So yeah, this... And there was nothing from the other camps. But yeah, it just doesn't... So take it with many pinches of salt.
Because
that's the rumor.
Comic book media websites right now are gagging for material. Like, they're gasping for some news to break. And as proved by the She-Hulk news recently, some of them are talking out of their arse, or one of them's getting a sniff of truth, like maybe Tatiana had a meeting with them, and they are going, they're in talks to do this, they're in talks to do... Like the Sony thing last week, with, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, like, it's... Someone's probably shat that idea out into the ether, and a site has taken it and run with it. And then you watch all of these freaking... unimaginative sites like Comic Book Screen Rant, like all of them are just copying and pasting from each other. The same shit.
It's shown up in more reputable sites like Empire and stuff like that.
True, but even the She-Hulk thing rocked up in Hollywood Reporter eventually. So, like, people are all just going, oh, I guess enough people are reporting on it, maybe we should do a story on it. And you're like, right, okay. I mean, it's the Woolworths thing, isn't it? It's the Woolworths shit this week. Where one account tweets, Woolies is coming back to your high street next year, and suddenly it's trending, everyone's talking about it, websites are doing this and the other, and it took the brains of one journalist at, like, The Independent or The Guardian to get in touch with Very, who own the brand Woolworths now, because there's a couple of Woolies stores in Australia. And they phoned them up, they were like, so is this true? And they were like, yeah, we have no idea why that tweet's been put out, that's not one of our accounts. All it took was one journalist, who actually is a fucking journalist, investigate it. And since that account has now, like, sort of minimalized and gone, yeah, we were just getting your hopes up high, isn't this funny? And it's like, but for 2-3 days, and I guarantee there'll be people listening to me say this right now in this podcast who won't have followed up on it, who'll be listening to me saying this and going, oh, it's not coming back. No, sorry guys, it's not. Because the internet is bored and looking for anything else to talk about right now.
Look, Woolworths is gone.
It's way out of proportion. Yeah. I think this is definitely dubious for several reasons, as we've just listed. But one of them is, I don't think Isaac would take this deal.
No, I don't think he had a great time.
Rewind back to the press at the end of Rise of Skywalker, where they said someone flat out asks him, do you, in one of the junkets, so if, like, would you ever reprise the role of Poe? And he goes like, no, I think I've sort of done all I can do with him, really. And they were like, so, like, if Disney Plus, like, reversed a dump truck of money up your driveway and said, do you want to do a Poe Dameron Disney Plus series? And he goes, and it's so funny, he just goes, no! Like that, just so, like, loudly and grinning. And you're like, okay, this is a man, much like John Boyega, who a year, 2-3 years from now is going to sit down and go, right, so here's the shit that went down making these movies.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, oh, he's doing his thing, he's doing his contractual thing, the movie's out, he's not going to badmouth it, he's going to talk about the good stuff that happened.
The man's a professional. He was in Sucker Punch. He can take some shit.
Oh, that's he can if he can survive being directed by Zack Snyder and not go insane.
But also,
I forgot John Hamm was in that until I watched Maggie Mae Fish's.
I mean, Snyder he's barely videos. In it, but yeah,
yeah. Sucker Punch is terrible.
Sucker Punch is fucking awful.
Sucker Punch would be amazing if you took all of the video gamey imaginary sequences and shot a completely different wraparound narrative that was not based around rape, abuse, and lobotomization in an asylum.
They managed to
if it was like an author just using her imagination to do some weird shit, it'd be like, cool, okay, fair enough. Video game, the movie, like,
but even so, it just took all that imagery and just made it really, really boring.
Because he washed it out.
Yeah. Anyway,
now here's the other question. Oh, yes.
That if this is true...
Matt's a suspect.
Yes. I suspect that if this is true, it'll be because the Star Wars and Marvel brands at Disney are under different leaderships. So it may be a case of him being like, I'm not going to go work with the Star Wars folk again because they fucked it up. Because what is different between the Star Wars and Marvel brands at Disney is the leadership.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like there's a person who is in control of the sort of artistic and narrative direction of the Star Wars stuff at Disney.
Yeah, there are overseers, but no one is steering that shit.
It doesn't seem like to put to sort of try and draw an equivalency, although they have slightly different roles. Kathleen Kennedy is not Kevin Feige for Star Wars.
She's not the creative voice and captain of the Star Wars ship.
Yeah.
She's the keeper. She's the keeper of the treasure.
Yeah.
She's the one who looks after the treasure.
She's the boss of Lucasfilm, but she doesn't have the sort of vision that Kevin Feige has in terms of, not like he's I'm not trying to say like he's some visionary genius of
no,
narrative,
but like
he had an idea.
they're both the figureheads
Yeah.
of these like companies, the wrong word, but they're both the figureheads of these two brands.
Yeah.
Feige is a storyteller who works with other storytellers to tell the story, and then he deals with all the bureaucracy and paperwork and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy deals with the bureaucracy and paperwork and hires good storytellers to do the storytelling and leaves them to it, which has resulted in mixed results because obviously, like you said, there isn't someone like there isn't a firm hand across everything. Yeah,
but there is. Well, there was. I don't know what the deal is with it now because Pablo Hidalgo was heading the Star Wars story group, who were responsible for keeping everything sort of in sync between the movies and all the tie-in media and stuff. But then Rise of Skywalker came out and just flew in the face of a bunch of stuff that they'd already established. Particularly, again, with Poe.
Yeah.
Poe's backstory...
Oh god, the graphic novels had done so much better for him, and the novels had done so much better with him than the films ever did.
Poe's backstory prior to Rise of Skywalker that he was an army brat.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally conceived on Endor.
No, not on... is he conceived on Endor?
Yeah, he's conceived in the celebrations after the end of the second Death Star.
Yeah, but then him and his parents, who were both rebels.
Oh no, that's it. No, you're right. Yeah, his parents. I think his parents meet there during that celebration, and then like it's during the stuff in what's it called? Empire after. No, it's one of the graphic novels. Empire. Shattered Empire. That's the one. It's during the events of that, which take place in the few years after.
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, that they bone and conceive Poe Dameron.
He was raised
making him about 30 years old in the new films, which makes sense in terms of the level of expertise and trust he's given as like a captain of their air force.
But he's raised on Yavin 4.
Yeah, he's like I said, an army brat raised by the rebellion, then the resistance.
Yeah. So, and then yet they just put in this whole scoundrel backstory for him, which comes out of nowhere. If you've been keeping up, so the story group clearly don't have that much influence on the films because now they've got to do a bunch of like, oh god, how are we going to fit that in? So yeah, that doesn't quite work. But you know, that's a small thing, and it's only really. It's only really a problem if you've been following the tie-in media, and the tie-in media is always one of those things where you're just like, I'm going to have to be ready to discard this at a moment's notice. But,
which is a shame because a lot of the Star Wars tie-in media since 2015 has been really good.
Yeah.
Really solid overall.
And also with the stated intent of, we want all of this to join together properly.
If you wanted to have a shelf...
EU, which was just a whole hodgepodge, but no.
Oh, God. Like, if you wanted to have a shelf of Star Wars, just like the story in order, if you wanted to do it, you could figure it out. Like, these books take place here, these books take place here, here's the saga.
Yeah.
Clone Wars fits in the middle. Like you could, if you wanted to have that, like, you know, books, DVD, books, DVD, and have it in order, and it makes sense, and all of it fit, and then Rise of Skywalker fucks with that. Well, the other reason he might want to come into it because of like the steadier hand, aside from the steadier hand across like how they tell stories with Marvel, might be that his driveway is big enough to fit 2 dump trucks.
Yeah. Or maybe he's just like, fuck it, I want to play superhero.
Yeah. What? His face is covered for most of it. Fuck it. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Like, I'll show up for 5 days. I'll do. Give me what Pedro got.
Yeah. Give me the Pedro deal.
Like, I'll be in for like 50% of it, of whenever you need my face, and then I'll go home.
I want the Pascal contract. And I mean Pedro.
Meanwhile, Charlie Cox is like,
not
I was in the suit every fucking day.
So yeah, things are not confirmed, but who could say? It honestly could go either way.
Because life is short, and you are hot.
So yeah, we'll see. We will see.
From Blink.
Oh.
What a treat!
Thanks,
Matt.
Yes,
it's the spooky season.
Spooky.
Do you have any spooky plans?
Yes.
What are you spooping?
I'm going to raise the dead and lead
Cool.
an army of necrotic fiends in an uprising against our despotic, idiotic government.
I mean, at the very least, if that doesn't work out, can you use Necrotic Fiends as a band name?
Necrotic fiends.
The Necrotic Fiends.
Yes. I can do that.
The decayed ne'er-do-wells.
Ah, yes.
Got to bring back the word ne'er-do-well.
The Blighty Bros.
Blighty Bros. While you're reading your satanic materials and spraying your goat's blood in the
unguents.
correct areas, yeah, your
you love
the
it,
throbbing
you tart.
the throbbing flesh between your fingers. You spray its devil's juice all over the ground.
Devil's moisture.
I think you should probably spend that time reading something.
Okay.
And as it be Halloween, sir, you should read some at Spoopy.
What, pray tell, could I possibly read? What is Spoopy?
Well, what about 5 spoopy comic book themed suggestions that may or may not tantalize your titty buds?
5 spoopy themed comic book things that might tickle my terror taste buds?
Yeah?
Yeah?
Fondle your fright-filled fancy.
Tell me, Don Miguel. Tell me of Le Comique Diabolique.
Well, gentle listener.
Yeah.
We need some creaky sound effects, I think. You fill them in while I tee this up. So, gentle listener. There's an owl, apparently. Someone let a pigeon in. Yes. Gather around the campfire for another bone-chilling installment of something we've never done before. Christopher recommends Spoopy shit to read. Thunder cracks. I'm probably wearing a cape. You know, this setup's actually more apt than you believe, but we'll get to that.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought everything's shite right now, and looking at screens is bringing me nothing but despair. So if you can break away from your screens long enough to pick up a book, dear listener, or at the very least head over to like Marvel Unlimited app, Boom's app, DC's app, or the other comic book repositories from which to digest. Oh yes, they've got it all, baby. I've got five recommends for y'all to read this spoopy Halloween.
Recommend some shit, boy.
Yeah. A couple of honourable mentions before I crack on things that I think you should check out that are in the world. The recent series Deceased is one that is worth peeking into.
I watched the comic back issues on that. I should check that out at some point.
It's the right level of batshit mental, and it's in a familiar superhero world where horrible things are happening instead. It's an Elseworlds tale, and worth a peek. Although its clear source of inspiration may or may not be coming up in the next.
Oh, it
20,
definitely will be.
I also recommend seeking out the indie comic book series Twisted Dark, which is a very Twilight Zone-esque series of spoopy tales for gruesome kids. Another one to find is, if you can, get hold of some of J. Michael Straczynski's Twilight Zone from Dynamite from a few years back. That one is worth dipping into as well.
All right.
It's very old school horror. It's a lot more along the lines of Creep Show and Tales from the Crypt and the old
old EC comic
horror
stuff.
Anthologies of old. Yeah, the EC comic stuff. It's very much that kind of vibe. But with that classy Rod Serling kind of packaging.
Makes sense.
So those are big recommends from me. And also, if you fancy something festive and creepy, try and find Marvel Zombies Christmas Carol. It's not a Marvel Zombies book. It's just a really, really gruesome looking, fucked up version of Christmas Carol. And it's kind of brilliant.
Sure.
Other recommends include any Tomb of Dracula, Midnight Suns, but these are arcs. We're going to be touching on a couple of arcs here, but mostly some standalone or pilot episode-y goodies.
Okay.
So first up, we spoke about this a while ago on the podcast, but I have since read the first volume of 2018's Buffy the Vampire Slayer from Boom Studios.
Oh!
This is, well, how to best put it? If you're aware of the TV series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, congratulations, you're a good person. You're a good egg. You've probably enjoyed many hours of fantastic television. Yeah, unlike its creator, Joss Whedon, whose name, unfortunately, is blazoned across the top of this and the spine, despite him not being involved in it.
They've done the same thing with the Firefly one.
Yeah, I've got some of the Firefly issues, and they've done the same, and it's like, oh, for God's sake. Like, the Dr. Horrible comic, the recent one, miniseries, isn't written by him, but his name's on it, and you're like, oh, for God's sake, why? But anyway, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if you're familiar with the TV show, you know the deal. Difference is, Boom Studios' Buffy the Vampire Slayer is the ultimate comics version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
This is so, you're making the show, and you want to use elements that people know, but it's 2018 when this series started. So, how do you do it now? I tells you how you do it. You don't just add smartphones into the mix. You completely change the context of things. Stuff is slightly different. It's what you know, but not how you know it. Two teenagers, Xander Harris and Willow Rosenberg, best mates since childhood, hanging out at the what's it called? Tunaverse fish-based fast food restaurant, are attacked in the parking lot by some freakish dude with a bumpy face, only for the lady working behind the till at the fast food restaurant on her cigarette break, even though she doesn't smoke, comes out, attacks the guy, stabs him, turns him to dust, and then he's like, you two okay? Okay, bye. They're now intrigued by this superhero or maybe supervillain living within their small town of Sunnydale, and realise quickly that she's the new girl at school. She joined about 2 months ago. Her name's Buffy Summers. They know she's capable of weird things, and they're like, hey, that was strange. Do you want some friends? Like, it seems like you're kind of lonely, and you saved our lives. We feel we at least owe you, like, some hangout time. Like, we at least owe you, like, a movie night at one of our houses and some popcorn and stuff. And Buffy's a little reluctant at first, but only because she's been told to not make friends. Buffy transferred 3 months ago with a man called Rupert Giles, who's now working in the library of the school. They train every night for something that Buffy's calling her calling, but isn't going into too much on what that means. Meanwhile, vampires pop out at night in Sunnydale all the goddamn time. Buffy, since arriving here, has been stabbing the heck out of them on the quiet, patrolling every evening when her mum thinks that she is hanging out with friends. Her mum's distracted by her boyfriend Eric anyway, so they're off doing their own thing. And you're like, Eric who? Yeah, they just throw in new freaking characters, and you're like, sure, okay. One night, Buffy attacks a vampire who she stabs in the heart, and he doesn't die. She notices the weird trinket he's wearing, and thus begins the manhunt to find whichever supplier in town is selling dangerous artifacts to common vampires. Problem is, two not-so-common vampires, the Mistress Drusilla and her boyfriend/bitch William, are in town, trying to find the same dealer, because the dealer has something known as the Power, which Drusilla has been looking for some time. Anyone who's watched the shows, listen to this going, wait, what?
Little bits.
Wait,
little bits.
Mistress Drusilla? What you mean Drusilla? Well, no, because this is kind of different. Welcome to Buffy the Elseworld story. It goes in different places.
Yeah, so I've heard.
The characters you are aware of from the show appear at different time periods. Like, one of Buffy's classmates who she's set up on a date with is Robin Wood. So it's Principal Wood from the show, except it's not, but only when you realise do you sort of look at the way this kid is illustrated and you're like, oh god, yeah, it's D.B. Woodside. The artist for this series is Dan Mora, and Dan Mora's style is fantastic because everybody looks like the actor you have in your head.
Yeah.
But the characters behave differently, dress differently, are in a different era. So it doesn't look like you're looking at somebody illustrating an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It looks like somebody's taken the same, like, molds, has taken the action figures, has taken the fan art and gone, no, this is what we're doing now instead. They are unmistakably the actors without strictly sticking to their visage. For example, I will show you there.
Oh, yeah, that's...
like, that is Buffy Summers.
Yeah.
You know, like, that is unmistakably her. That's William. That is unmistakably who he. I mean, he calls himself a different name when he meets Cordelia Chase, and when Cordelia finds out that's what. When Drusilla finds out he called himself Spike, she's like, "Shut up, you're William." And it's like, okay. Brilliant. Cordelia Chase has got a very modern hair dye job.
Yeah.
Cordelia is very much Series 3 Cordelia. She's not a bitchy California Valley girl. She is genuinely lovely to everybody and is actually kind of trying to do better for her school, but knows she's popular and is fine with it. She's the nicer Cordelia. And when I first encountered her in this, I was like, oh, why wouldn't you want to tell the story of the... Oh, because I guess we've seen that story a million times in different things set in high school.
And like...
So they're not going to do that.
I think it's more interesting to approach a story like this without falling into old stereotypes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like, absolutely.
If you're going to redo it, don't just hit the same beats.
Yeah. Try new things. I mean, Willow, for example, is not shy retreating Series 1 Willow in rainbow cardigans, long sleeves, not talking to anybody. Like, she is a fairly confident, like, high school goth. Her girlfriend Rose, because, it's 2018. Like, she feels a lot more emboldened and knows herself more in this version of the continuity. Her girlfriend Rose and her, like, adore each other. They're running for class president opposite Cordelia, and there is no bad blood in a scene where I was like, I'm waiting for this to turn into the bit where Cordelia finally goes like, and by the way, I'm better than you. Nope, doesn't happen. It's like, okay, this is refreshing. This feels like a modern high school. This feels like we're in a modern high school rather than the high school archetype of film and television that has existed for 30, 40 years.
Where everyone is in their 30s and 40s.
The magic dealer isn't explicitly named. Yeah, the magic dealer isn't. Oh, they make a big point in this of saying that everyone in Buffy's year, like our main teen characters, are all 16 and they are all recently 16.
Yeah.
So they're really hammering down the idea of no, this is a book about a teenage superhero and her friends.
Yeah.
Which is different because the original series sort of they're 16, 17 at first, and it's about them going into senior year and then the 2 senior years of high school and. Whereas this is like, no, it's a comic book. They're going to stay kids. They're going to stay kids for a while longer. The magic dealer in question isn't explicitly named at first, but I was taking one look at her face. I'm like, that's Emma Caulfield. Later on, Mistress Drusilla refers to her as Anyanka. And I'm like, they're bringing Anya into this? Okay. Giles is a harsher guy. Buffy doesn't really know much about him outside of their training. There's an implication that maybe they were training already before the move to Sunnydale, and the move to Sunnydale's strategic.
Yeah.
Instead of she goes there, Giles is there and waiting and is like, yes, I'm one of the Watchers. And she's like, oh, bollocks, I guess you're my new Watcher then. No, it seems like the two of them have come here together and helped to arrange Joyce's move to Sunnydale as part of it. It's, there's a bit more of a conspiratorial thing going on. We have a giant freaking bat creature called Kamazots, who is Buffy's, as she words it, Pegasus, so that's going to be an ongoing thing because she's got a giant freaking bat that kills vampires.
All right.
The reason I want to bring this one up is it's volume 1. It doesn't work as its own self-contained story arc, but if you're looking for something to start reading outside of Halloween month going forward, and you love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and you're like, I wonder what it'd be like now, but without the troublesome dude at the helm, then this is an interesting place to start. The way this first arc ends is with one of our regular cast members becoming sired.
Yes.
And
yes, I have heard tell of this.
I am super fucking intrigued as to where that'll go. I have whipped around to add the Book Depot versions of Volume 2 and Angel Volume 1 to my Amazon basket because I'm like, yep, I want to read some more. Let's do it. I'll spend a few quid on them. If you're looking for more as well, Angel runs concurrently the same way the Darth Vader Star Wars comic did for a few years, where they're both happening at the same time and then they overlap in a few places. Angel's story is completely different. He's glimpsed very briefly in this story at the end, so I'm interested to see where it's going to go, but it's cool. And because this was the launch of the series, all the variant covers are in the back of the book as well, including some variant covers that are just flat out homaging the TV series, including, let me show you, this absolutely gorgeous Hush one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's very nice.
That's beautiful. And this really nice Once More With Feeling musical episode one, which is pretty cool. So the artwork is just, it's gorgeous, and I will be carrying on with it. That's my first Halloween recommend.
All right.
My second one.
What
My
else
second
is
one's
in
another. Well, it's another ongoing, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
it's a comic book that has jumped from company to company and keeps returning as miniseries. But there are 6 giant omnibus volumes collecting like the first 15 years of these characters' existence out there. I'm talking about the the horror loving homage that is Tim Seeley's Hack Slash.
Okay.
Is what happens when the final girl goes, "Wow, I survived that. I'm going to do it again." Cassie Hack is a serial killer. Her friend Vlad is a giant, deformed, hulking, silent type thing in a gas mask because you know he was raised inside a butcher shop for 20 plus years. Air's hard to breathe. Give him some space. The two of them travel around America and sometimes the world based on the story, killing slasher killers, or revenants as the government call them. Because you learn as the series goes on that these are a thing. This is if anybody who's ever played the video game Dead by Daylight, for anyone who's ever had a passing curiosity in Elm Street or the Friday the 13th series, people who just basically love the idea of a horror film slasher property with a supernatural edge that suggests there's more going on here. Hack Slash is for you. Everybody who works on it, every illustrator, every writer, aside from alongside Tim Seeley, the creator of the series and writer of the majority of it, everyone involved adores horror movies, especially the long franchises that go on forever.
Yeah.
And they appreciate that. You're going to meet their takes on serial killers who will only appear for one issue or who might come back later. There is a character who lives on through possession of different items. In their first appearance, they live inside a teddy bear.
Sure.
And then it moves on later on. There's a guy who has... he's a 2-part serial killer because he's this big, super strong dude whose conjoined twin is running around helping to commit the murders.
Oh, cool.
There is the most gruesome lunch lady you will ever see in anything ever, who looks like she was shat out of the nightmares of someone who just binged the real Ghostbusters whilst eating cheese before bedtime.
Nice.
It is a joy. Cassie is wonderful. She's one of the most badass protagonists in any book I've ever read because her entire thing is horror schlock. It's the monster's coming after me. Great, let me pick up this heavy object and bludgeon its skull in. Like, it's not, we have to bring them in. We have to bring them to justice. It's not, this is a horror book. She's going to kill the murderer before the murderer kills more people. It also means the danger she and Vlad get in is very fucking real. Things are lost. They do not leave each encounter with toys back in the sandbox. We'll do this again next issue. Like, each story is self-contained, but there is baggage. There are scars, both real and mental.
Yeah.
Her love life actually does exist as the story goes on, and she and her missus are, like, fucking adorable, which, of course, then adds to the stakes later on, because you're like, she has a person to go home to now.
Yeah.
Is this getting more dangerous? But also, if you're a fan of slasher and horror movies, these guys are to the point where they arranged crossovers with, or just flat out bought the rights to do a crossover with, horror film properties. There is a great crossover series set after Volume 2 with Ash Williams in Hack Slash Army of Darkness.
Yep.
Which fits into the Army of Darkness continuity of the comics at that point before they rebooted it, because reasons. There is a Reanimator story.
Sure.
Because why not? And also, the comic book continuity of Chucky by Boom Studios.
Yes.
I think it was Boom. Was it Boom? Who did Chucky?
Might be Dynamite.
Oh, hang on. Oh, no, DPD.
Oh.
Devil's Due Publishing. DDP. Devil's Due
Devil's
Publishing.
Due. Jesus.
Devil's
that
Due...
name for a long time.
Yeah, Devil's Due Publishing had what was meant to be a Chucky ongoing, but then became a mini, and then was meant to get a sequel, but that never happened, which sucks, because the mini was really good. The first part of that story is Hack Slash Chucky, which is also collected in Volume 1 of this, which shows you what happened to the doll's body after the events of Cedar Chucky, before his
Oh
arm gets posted.
yes, you've talked about this before. Yeah,
Yeah, so like it's just sort of like, okay, this is
yeah.
and with blessings of original creators getting involved and going, oh, do that or try this, and them going, we're all ears. Like the behind the scenes material in these omnibus volumes is great because they go into detail about the conversations they have with people who own the franchises that they borrow. There's extensive design work for their own slashers, which is why I think Dead by Daylight players would enjoy it, because it's like, oh my god, it's just it's a DeviantArt nightmare come true. I want to. I'm not a filmmaker, but I want to create this horrible nightmare thing that could stalk people. There it is. What do people think? Here they are in a goddamn comic book. There is a Marvel Universe Guide to the Marvel Universe style section at the end of each omnibus.
Oh, nice.
Adding all of the new killers into the catalogue, with notes from Cassie, posted it all over the entries as well. Hack Slash is it's horror schlock porn for the eyes. It's just so much fun.
All right.
So my question to you is, which slasher killer would you like to see pop up in a comic book crossover with a comic book slasher killer? And I'll let you know if it has happened or not with these guys.
Candyman.
Hasn't happened, but that'd be great. That'd be amazing. I mean, whoever illustrates it would hate that because they'd have to draw a load of bees.
Bees. So many bees.
We're in the top 3. Hey Matt,
Top
do you want an
3.
ongoing do you want an ongoing series?
Not particularly. My time is limited.
Because the only good entry in this series is the one we're going to talk about.
Hey.
About 15 years ago in the comic book series Ultimate Fantastic Four, the spin-off to all the Marvel comic books, that it was a reboot of everything, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, etc. Marvel had claimed they were not going to do any crossovers with the main Marvel universe. And then in one issue of Ultimate Fantastic Four, a Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, very clearly your classic Fantastic Four designs and universe, reach out through a dimensional portal to the Ultimate Fantastic Four universe and go, oh my god, here you are. This is amazing. We've been trying to find another what to talk to. This is fantastic. Let us share ideas. Isn't this incredible? Yay! And then on the sly, one of them eats someone at the Baxter building. They're zombies. They're eventually beaten and defeated and cut to pieces and murdered before they can hurt anyone. I remember reading that issue and being so shocked because, even though Ultimate Fantastic Four was a little bit more on the creepy sci-fi spectrum of Fantastic Four stories, just flat out zombies was very surprising and very oh my god. At the end of this story, the portal is cut off from the world they came from because someone on the other side has gone, right, go. I've destroyed the tech this side. Kill them in your world. Don't let them spread. I've got to destroy this so that none of them can use this to come through. Marvel Zombies picks up immediately where that left off, where Magneto has destroyed the portal machine created by zombie Reed Richards to stop the rest of the infected super beings from leaving this world. See, a while ago, something known only as the Hunger started to at this point anyway, started to take over the world, and as soon as a super person was infected, that infection spread very quickly.
Yes.
And then the bodies started piling up. Because, sure, someone gets a zombie virus that means they crave the taste of human flesh. They might end up eating a few people before they're found and killed. If Quicksilver gets the zombie virus...
yeah.
He's going to run around eating things and leaving things alive by mistake that are now infected. Or he's going to bite another superhero and go, hey, welcome to the club, let's go. Vumph. Mm-hmm. Marvel Zombies takes place in a world where there is no one left to eat. And the remaining 100-ish super beings that are now zombies are starting to get worried that there's nothing left. Magneto survived for a long time because, master of magnetism. Try and chase him down in a city, he's going to pull shit down on top of you and kill you. Magneto alerts Asteroid M. Turns out the Marauders are all alive and well up there, and they're waiting for Magneto to come back and join them and figure out what the hell they're going to do next. 90s style as well. They're all pouches and big guns and stuff. And whatnot. Whereas everyone else is dressed in a very 60s kind of look, but, sure, whatever.
It does harken back to that kind of thing, yeah.
They managed to kill Magneto after he sent the signal for the Marauders, though. and eat him. And the civil war nearly begins between the two factions of the zombie Avengers and supervillains that have joined them. Because here's the thing. After these zombies eat, they become a little more coherent.
Yeah.
They start to feel things a bit more. Which some of them, like Hank Pym, Tony Stark, and Colonel Rogers.
Yes.
Colonel America.
Former President Colonel
America.
Colonel America.
And former owner of a full skull, but Magneto uses his shield to cut the top of his head off, which doesn't kill him.
Nope.
And it's like, what is happening? Like some of the scientisty zombies, every time they gain a bit more clarity, are like, right, we need to form a plan. What do we do? Like, we don't know what happened to all those congressmen and women. Like, surely there are bunkers. We need to go to DC. There'll be loads of people hiding out in secret facilities. Like, we've got to try this. That they're doing that. Meanwhile, others just start to repent. Spider-Man keeps wailing over the fact that on the day he got infected, he ate Mary Jane and Aunt May. And other zombies around him are like, oh, shut the fuck up. We all kill people and ate them. Like, oh, we all kill people we loved and ate them on day one. Get over it. Hulk forms down to Bruce Banner. Hulk had eaten Magneto's leg, and now Bruce Banner's lay there with like jagged bits of his stomach sticking up on the verge of splitting open because his stomach isn't as big as the Hulk's.
Nope.
But he only turns into the Hulk when the hunger comes back, so it's like, this is messed up. The reason I recommend this is because it's not just a book of despair and disgust. I mean, there's some horrible shit. Wait till you find out what, or rather who, Hank Pym is keeping in a secret lab and for why.
Yeah.
It is messed up. But the two reasons I think this is worth checking out. This is written by Robert Kirkman of The Walking Dead. Before The Walking Dead really took off. It's like early days for The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The forward to this graphic novel is him going like, I didn't want to do this when they offered it to me, but then they told me sort of the premise of their version of the zombies, and I was like, oh, I mean, that is different. All right, I'll write this. And I think he writes the first 2 volumes, and one of the tie-ins, but this 6-issue first series is the recommendation that I'm giving, because the other premise of this is, as they're deliberating what to do next, the Silver Surfer, the Herald of Galactus, arrives at their Earth for the first time with the news that Galactus is about to arrive and devour Earth. Bad timing for Norin Rad, because he's the first bit of fresh meat that's shown up since Magneto was killed.
Yep.
And then what do you think happens when a world of zombies is suddenly presented with a gigantic spaceman?
Buffy!
It is. This goes some weird places. And it has a classic horror movie kind of ending, we in the clear, we guess, and epilogue, oh shit kind of premise. It's great. There are more. There's like 6 sequels to this. There is a prequel called Dead Days. There is a prequel tie-in with Army of Darkness set during the Army of Darkness comic continuity that then ends up in a hack/slash crossover.
Yep.
So, Ash from Evil Dead is undisputably a part of why things begin in the Marvel Zombies continuity.
Yep.
You could, of course, read the 2 Ultimate Fantastic Four issues, should you wish. There is plenty to dig into if you do enjoy this. But my recommendation for Halloween is just Marvel Zombies Volume 1. Just read it. It's freaking great.
I've read...
It's so grim. It's so grim.
I think I've read the first 4.
Yeah, so so the second volume continues the adventures of this particular group of monsters. Yeah. And then 3 and 4 is the Machine Man and Jocasta stuff, where it's like they're being sent out on missions to deal with zombie stuff in other dimensions before it spreads further.
And then one of them is Machine Man and Jocasta, and then the other one is Howard the Duck.
Yeah, he gets involved as well. Yeah. And Howard the Duck is, correct me if I'm wrong, World, but Howard the Duck is 616 Howard the Duck.
Yes. No,
because he has referenced in his book since that time he was sent on the zombie killing thing.
No, it's 616 Jocasta and Machine Man, because they are agents of
That's
Armor.
it, yeah. Yes. Yeah, and it's a really good use of Machine Man as well.
Yeah.
It's one of those where you're like, really? These are the stars of the book? And then you get into it, you're like, okay, actually, this is pretty great.
Yeah.
Like, of course you send androids and cyborg people to deal with zombies. They have less chance of being infected.
I think they're all right, those. But yeah, the first one is really strong, and
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was a law of diminishing returns.
Oh, absolutely. As with any horror franchise, really, it just sort of gets worse as it goes on.
Yes.
And the initial idea is the best. Without going into detail audibly, that's the bit when I was rereading it this week that made me go, oh god, I forgot about that. Oh, that's horrendous. Oh my god, that is so disgusting. It's also like one of the few times ever where when you realise that Forge is alive, you're like, yay! Because of what it leads to for a certain character who's had a lot taken away from them.
Yes.
In this story.
Yes.
The homage covers to classic Marvel covers are brilliant.
Yeah.
They're all done by what's the name? Sunday. What's the artist's name? Let me whip it up now with my eye holes. Arthur Suidam, who did some amazing work for this, and then went on to do covers for Deceased in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And was exposed for stealing people's source photo material to use for it. And it was like, oh, great. Oh, well, that sucks. So,
oh, no, he done a Greg Land.
Yeah, I mean, for these covers, at least, they're not based on real people or stealing work. They're based on classic Marvel covers. So you can enjoy this at least.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear my 2 absolute top picks for Halloween readings?
Love to hear your 2 absolute top picks.
Who's your favourite human being called Desmolchin? Because if it's David Desmolchin and you love Halloween, then you're in luck. So
okay, all right.
Actor and writer David Desmolchin, who are our listeners will definitely know from things like the Dark Knight, the Ant-Man movies, the Flash TV series,
the upcoming The Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Polka Dot Man himself teamed up with Dark Horse Comics end of last year, start this year to create Count Crowley, Reluctant Midnight Monster Hunter. This is
that looks great.
So fucking good. The cover looks like some kind of weird mashup of Elvira and Kiss. That is the best way to describe it.
We have no choice
is great.
But to stand.
But to... Pretty much. So, this is about Jerry, who was a news anchor for her local TV station. A TV station that her mum and dad used to run, and she and her brother have inherited it. She goes away for a while for something that is hinted at in this series, but like, should they do a follow-up series, which they have plans to, but it's not been announced yet, so maybe they're working on it in quiet, in secrecy. She went away and she's come back. She's been given the fluffy anchor job, like of just going and doing the quirky stories. Thing is, Jerry's dealt with some shit in recent years. She's not a happy-go-lucky person. She is a, like, she's more alcoholic than human. She's deeply unhappy. She doesn't take any shit from anyone around her. Anyone asking her to get help is on the receiving end of her. Cool. Go fuck yourself. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. She doesn't care.
Bye.
When she screws up massively on one of her fluff pieces for the news network, her brother gives her last shot. Count Crowley, the host of their like midnight monster movie slot on the channel with a cult following, has not reported into work for 2 weeks, and they can't hold the slot back any further because for this small local station, it is, for better or worse, one of the more popular slots on the station. Stoners, teenagers, horror movie fans, nerds alike tune in at midnight to watch a shit horror movie and watch Count Crowley introduce it. But he's not been in for a while. Short of her brother donning the makeup, he gives Jerry the chance, like, look, you do this, earn some cash, stay with the station, stay on your contract, no one will know it's you, you're under a lot of makeup, like, let's just do it. She gives it a shot. She openly insults the audience. She has a whale of a time kind of letting out all of her aggression whilst being like a sarcastic, sassy arsehole in the links in and out of this movie and its commercial breaks. They get the most responses they've had to the station for a long time. Equally positive and negative, but it's enough for her brother to be like, right, you've got to keep doing this. And for her to be like, I'm reaching for another bottle, you're fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
No. But on her first night, when she leaves, she's accosted by a young man who wants to know where the real Count Crowley is. He needs his help. He said he'd meet me here. And under the full moon, this dude transforms into a fucking werewolf.
Oh, nice.
And she barely escapes with her life. Thus begins Jerry's search, in between being bollocked by a schoolmate who's the local police officer who patrols at night and all this stuff, who's trying to get her to get help and tattletaling on her to her brother. Between all this, thus begins Jerry's journey to find out what the hell happened to Crowley, and does the host that he took over from initially, who's living in an old folks' home, and apparently a violent man who was only being visited by Crowley up until he went missing 2 weeks ago.
Oy.
What he has to do with it. This is a fantastic fucking comedy horror movie in one book.
Yeah.
Jerry is incredibly likable. She is not drawn as a typical horror comic heroine or classic comic heroine. She looks knackered. She looks so fucking tired all the time. She spends a lot of the middle of the issue, the series of the story, in the makeup from that first night, having not showered yet because she's still trying to find stuff out. So it just looks more and more haggard as the story goes on. She encounters a silent type who tries to kill her, who is so reminiscent of Walter from the Mask comic books. It's nuts. If you're a fan of Midnight Monster stuff, of Elvira, of Vincent Price, Hammer Horror, Wayne's World, even this will tickle those itches. It is so good, and it's one concise, solid arc that ends with the notion of there's more to this. Right, with a little teaser sting at the end, showing that there's someone paying more attention to what's going on than they realised. But it's a one and done. It works well as one book. If it doesn't come back, that will suck. But if it doesn't, at least this one volume makes sense. And I'm sure one day they'll find a way to tell the part 2 that they'd like to tell.
Interesting.
But it's like you were saying before about EC Comics, it harks back to that era. Each issue ends with a horror maestro wrapping up the story and setting up the cliffhanger for you. It's just got this dirty, really filthy kind of art style. By Lucas Kettner. And it's just, it's a delight. Please buy it, because not only is it good, but it means that Dark Horse might be able to go, yeah, why aren't we doing this now? Let's make more now. And if you don't buy it, David Desmalchin will set Baba Yaga after you. So
he'll get you with these polka dots.
He'll strike you with his deep Russian accent. He did some great time material. If you enjoy the book that much, one of the horror hosts they audition, you see briefly, is a character that David Desmalchin played in the marketing for this book, which you can find on YouTube, and is worth watching as well, because it's really fucking weird. It's really, really weird.
Interesting.
Count Crowley, reluctant midnight monster hunter. Want to know what it looks like? It's the fucking thumbnail, ladies and gentlemen. There's your giveaway. And finally...
Yes. Give
Dear
me...
Matthew.
Your number 1.
Who are the scariest villains in Batman's Rogues Gallery?
Kite Man.
I didn't say who are the sexiest villains in Batman's Rogues Gallery. But who are the scariest villains in Batman's Rogues Gallery?
Calendar Man.
Calendar Man? Right, yeah.
Oh no, White Rabbit is...
some of them are straight up based around fear and perversion and stuff.
Magpie.
No. No. See, normally one would go, oh, the Joker, or Scarecrow, yeah, Two-Face, he's terrifying, Killer Croc. Nah, fuck that. Jane Doe.
I'm sorry,
Dan
what?
Slott. Jane Doe. Dan Slott. Spider-Man, Fantastic Four to Iron Man writer extraordinaire, She-Hulk writer to the stars, had a bash at Batman back in 2003 with a 6-issue limited series called Arkham Asylum Living Hell.
Yeah, I've heard tell of this. I have not read it. Seen it? Read it.
This fucking book. Holy shit. When I started this week, I was like, I'm going to reread some horror stuff because I wanted to bring my picks to the podcast.
Yes.
And I was like, I remember Arkham Asylum: Living Hell being freaky. I've not read it for a few years though. Let me reread. Yeah, this kept me up last night. So the basic premise of Arkham Asylum: Living Hell is billionaire twat Warren White, known amongst other criminals and philanthropists marketing themselves as good people who are really up to dodgy shit, is known. He moves books around for the mob. He profits on his own things. Known to everybody as the Great White Shark. Has his trial moved around so much that now he's been caught embezzling people and screwing over pensions and all this, that, and the other to funnel money from here and there. Has his trial moved around from court to court so much that he eventually ends up in a place where he knows he'll get the most lenient sentence. It ends up in Gotham, and he pleads insanity. And the judge is like, right, there's no evidence really to suggest you are, but you've strung this along so much, and you and your lawyers are making a case for insanity so much that you made these complex calculations and you fucked over thousands of people and companies and profited for yourself. Like, you've left people homeless, you screwed up pensions, a worker committed suicide on your watch after going through the accounts, which is what began the investigation, because people were like, why would they kill themselves after looking at the accounts? So that doesn't make any sense. Maybe someone forced him into it or threatened him. Like, you've done all this stuff. I cannot believe for 1 second that you are dealing with any form of insanity or mental illness. But if that is the plea you're going to continue making, then congratulations, case dismissed. You're declared insane and you will be moved to the nearest correctional facility for a minimum of 5 years. By the way, Mr. White, you really should have looked into which city you were moving to.
Yeah.
Warren White is taken to Arkham Asylum. And what begins is effectively the story of one man who even the monsters of Gotham think is the worst man who ever lived. Because even the Joker hasn't stolen like an old person's pension just before they claim it. Even Two-Face hasn't made children homeless. Everyone in here fucking hates him. So what begins as name-calling, he's a little fish now, he ain't the shark, he's a little fish in a big pond, he's fish, he's the little fish boy, he's the fish boy, he's fish, turns into weeks of torment that escalates in a way that can only be described as Batman the horror movie. Batman barely features in this, it's why his name's not even in the title of the series. Gotham's biggest rogues appear, but they aren't the focal point. This is the story of Warren White's attempt to survive, whilst Arkham is led into a centuries-old trap that begins with its earliest days, even before it was the Elizabeth Arkham Asylum, and a satanic scheme put to rest, or so he thought, by Jason Blood. So,
that old cunt.
We are dealing with, at first, the story of one man suffering in a living horror movie that is being an inmate at Arkham and having to deal with the things that occur around him. All the while, something that Etrigan the Demon tried to stop coming to the earth from some other side.
Oh, good.
Has begun to wake in the bowels of Lady Arkham. Giggity. This is... I mean, it's fucking great because it's already a character horror that then turns into, like, snowballs into a freaking satanic, like, oh my god, this is terrifying. Fuck the Hellmouth. Like, no one go down into the sub-basement of Arkham kind of storyline. All your faves appear. He makes great use of Bullock. And characters like him, but the stars of this book, aside from Warren White's growing paranoia and fear for his own life, are his doctor, his psychiatrist. I'm just gonna get her name properly. His psychiatrist, Anne. Was it Anne? Is it Anne Carter? I want to get her surname right. It'll come to me. But a psychiatrist, Anne, who works at Arkham, who's dealt with all this shit. She's bored of it. She's she can't even get a date because she takes her work home so much and it affects her. she makes a deal with Warren. She's like, right, I have friends who could get you transferred to the what's it called, where you're on your own, solitary confinement. Could get you transferred to the solitary confinement facility at Blackgate with psychiatrist appointments as your stand-in for the treatment here. I can make that happen on two counts. One, it's not a lot of money to you, Mr. White, but if you can wire 20 million into my account through your offshore people, that can change my life. I can get the fuck out of here and I can be me again and not a doctor in this hellhole. And two, for the couple weeks this is going to take to do, if you manage to stay alive to do it, I want you to have daily sessions with me because it's nice to talk to somebody who isn't a murderous psychopath. So you have this through line going on for him at first. Thing is, a couple months ago, Jane Doe escaped Arkham Asylum. For those who don't know Jane Doe, she is a relatively featureless, like she shaves her eyebrows down and sort of has removed any kind of key features on her face at least. Serial killer in the world of Batman who inhabits the lives of other people.
Yep.
Because that's what she likes to do. And there are several people involved in this deal that Warren is trying to do to get out who may or may not even really be there anymore. They do stuff with Jane Doe in this that is fucking horrifying. There's the Gotham villain Doodlebug, who's like a relatively throwaway kind of Batman villain. He's a famous artist who's turned into a graffiti artist and vandal, who like does horrible big displays of art in places that endanger people's lives. In this, we learn that that's not the reason why he's in Arkham. It's because like he sees the world Van Gogh-like with like different colours and shapes and patterns, and occasionally will add the blood of people to his paint.
Right.
He may or may not be a tool being utilised by the Thing in the basement at this point, and the use of the paint, blood in the paint, is not necessarily his choice. Nor is the graffiti simply just graffiti. It may or may not be keys or doorways. Humphrey Dumpler, Humpty Dumpty himself, is a major player in this book. Humpty Dumpty puts things back together again, folks, but sometimes to do that, he breaks them. He's a model inmate of Arkham. They love him there. When a mirror is smashed in a common room gripe, Jeremiah Arkham brings I'm going to call him Humpty, brings Humpty into his office, gives him everything they found of the mirror, and says, right, for you get some extra TV time in the recess room to yourself for the next month, if you put that back together. And he's like, I can't think of anything more fun, thank you so much. And Humpty spends a day putting the mirror back together, under supervision of the guards, obviously, because it's glass. That's how they find out there's a big dagger-like shard of it missing. So he is then given another request. Like, do you want, is there, you've helped us out a lot here. Is there anything else we can do for you? And Humpty's like, I would like that nice Mr. Warren White man moved into my cell, please, because I think his cellmate is hurting him. And it's like, oh, okay. And Humpty's sort of pacified by being given these little things to fix from time to time. Warren is grateful for a new cellmate who seems like a nice person. He's this giant 7-foot-tall, obese egg of a man, but he doesn't seem to be a violent maniac who wants to hurt him like the rest of them. And he doesn't. And when Humpty tells him the story of how he was first arrested and why, and you learn that him putting things back together around town resulted in people's deaths, and he was brought in by Batgirl after an ATM was one of the things he took apart and put back together. And then when Batgirl caught him from falling and dislocated both of her arms, he, of course, walked up to her and she's panicking like crazy, and he just puts them back in for her and makes sure she's okay, because that's what he does. He puts things back together. He doesn't want to hurt her. Like, she's right. He's a criminal. He did a thing that gave away hundreds of thousands of dollars that people then stole, and that's not right. So he goes back to his grandma's shoe shop where like he works and is beaten by his grandma on the daily to at least show Batgirl something before he goes in, because he's like, I think I have to tell you about this. He takes her back to reveal that his grandma obviously beat him and was horrible to him because there must have been something broken inside of her. So he took her apart and put her back together again in the hopes that this time she'll be right. And when Warren learns about that, he's like, okay, I don't feel safe in here anymore, because Dumpty's basically like, that's the reason I wanted to bring you in here and be friends with you, is because, and this phrase keeps going throughout the whole thing, you are the worst person I've ever met.
Mm.
There must be a way to fix you, and you and me together, we're going to figure out what it is. And he doesn't mean any, like, I'm going to cut you open. And, like, that's not what he's saying. But after the story he's just told, you're like, Warren, get out of there. Leave. Meanwhile, the satanic shit starts to build up and spread through the asylum. We get some lovely horror movie homages where Joker and Two-Face break out during a riot. This is the story that introduces Aaron Cash, and we learn all about him. He's one of the protagonists of the book. Arkham security head Aaron Cash. We learn about how he lost his hand. We learn about the people he knows and loves from work, and what his like commitments in the world around him are, and his personal life. And we watch him overcome his fear ultimately in the final confrontation within the asylum's basement. There's some great shit in here. It
sounds like
so scary. Like, Magpie and Poison Ivy attempt to break out, that leads them into their very own, basically sort of the scantily clad women get attacked by the monster horror scene.
Sure.
That is played full on for like, why are they going down there? What the fuck is wrong with them? That leads to some really unique body horror from a lot of the characters later on. It's so good. It is so damn spooky, and I recommend it to anybody who loves horror and is like, I want to read a horror story set in a Batman world. Let's do it. Bring it on.
Yeah, it's one of those corners of the DC universe that's sort of ripe for horrific pillaging, because you've got so many sort of twisted serial killers, and yeah.
It's also well worth the read just to see the fate of Warren White and how his story ends in this book. Because you don't get a nickname like the Great White Shark in a comic book and it not lead to something interesting.
No.
The body horror is phenomenal. There's a bit where some characters are transformed into different things as part of the arcane stuff that's going on. That one there that I'm pointing it to you being my favourite.
Yeah, okay.
Because... That is horrendous.
I like that.
That's some Resident Evil looking shit right there.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Illustrated by Ryan Sook, and a bunch of the cover work is done by your old pal, Eric Powell. Well, the covers are beautiful.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they use a lot of the tone and style of Living Hell in the Arkham Asylum game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the characters are referenced directly in that, like Warren White's got a profile and stuff, and it's just, it's good. And also, if you're a fan of characters who rhyme throughout their entire dialogue, Humpty Dumpty and Etrigan are in this, so tuck the fuck in.
Yeah!
It even plays a plot point. In the final act, people who speak in rhyme actually plays a role in the ritual stuff.
Love it.
It's fun. It is fun. So yeah, Boom Studios, Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot, Marvel Zombies, the OG, Hack Slash by Tim Seeley, Count Crowley, Reluctant Midnight Monster Hunter, and Arkham Asylum Living Hell. They be my picks if you want something spooky to read this Halloween. Get away from your screens and look at something made of paper. Yes, Crack of Thunder. Well, I just thought I'd get ahead of it, because people always say, where would you recommend start reading here and there? And I was like, for Halloween, motherfuckers, sit down. I'll make a whole goddamn list.
I think that's some good spooky comics. You have a good chunk of spooky comics you've dumped on us there.
I'm a spooky man. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. I mean, legally, the courts say I have to tell you that I'm a spooky man whenever I enter.
Yeah. You have to send postcards to everyone whenever you move into a new place.
Hi everybody. I'm one of those spooky men. Have you done something horrible? Oh God, no. I'm just a spooky man.
I'm just spooky.
Don't misconstrue me. I'm just a little bit spoopy.
So yeah, we hope you enjoy whatever spoopiness you can get up to with with things being as they are this Halloween weekend. So
spoop responsibly.
and tell us about your spoopy experiences by getting in touch with us on bigdamcontact@gmail.com or at bigdamcast on Twitter. Do not forget to come and say hi over on Twitch at twitch.tv/bigdamstream, where we stream every Monday and Friday. And of course, if you're in a position to do so and want to chuck us a couple of shekels to help keep this show going, then you can do so.
Keep the lights on, so to speak.
Yes. Keep the hosting going. Then you can do so at patreon.com. Patreon.com/bigdamcast. I'm very tired. I'm sorry.
He's a sleepy boy.
Yeah.
And also, well, I'll tell you what, help out this sleepy busy boy, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, inevitably, we're going to be talking about episode 1. Because I believe it's episodic again. Of
Yes,
The Mandalorian
so.
Season 2. So if you watch it, we want to know your reviews. We're going to be talking about it, and it'd be cool to hear what you think of it too. So let us know before next... Also known as Wednesday on most calendars.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
What
are you doing for this Halloween? Are you gonna sit indoors and cry into a mask?
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, that's my most of my weekends anyway. But it's a special one this weekend.
You should make your mask wear a mask.
What?
You should put a pumpkin mask or a ghost mask over your face mask.
What's to say?
You don't, though.
Bye, everyone.